So Billy Napier's Florida Gators are kind of good. DJ Lagway, quarterback of the future. That's what it looks like. That's kind of what it should be. I am surprised by this. I'm genuinely surprised. I wasn't surprised when Miami lost to Georgia Tech. I wasn't surprised that BYU lost to Kansas, even at home. I am surprised that Florida has completely flipped the script on this season. I thought they'd end the year at 5-7. Well, they host Ole Miss next week. Tell me why Florida can't win that football game. Tell me. Go ahead. Explain. Yeah, you can't. Because Florida could absolutely win that football game. If Billy Napier gets to he's getting to a bowl game, by the way. Because Florida is now 5-5. Might be the best 5-5 football team I have ever seen for a team that began the season getting thrashed twice in the first 3 weeks. Twice on their home field. Miami and Texas A&M walked in there and kicked them out of the stadium. Like Magneto to Wolverine in X-Men Days of Future Past. He loads him up with a medal and he just launches him out of the stadium. That's what they did. And yet, somehow, some way, Billy Napier has risen his team from the ashes. He has saved his job. And Scott Strickland announced before this game, which was very losable on paper, but winnable by the time the fourth quarter came to a close. He announced Billy Napier is going to be the head coach. Not everybody likes that. I don't know what to do with my mood assessment of Florida here because my instinct is outright winner. Peak of the sport. This is as good as it feels. You beat a ranked team and you proved, hey, we can play with the good teams in this conference. And LSU, they might just be an okay team. I mean, they lost to USC after all, who finally won a close football game. There was a pass interference in the end zone, but you know what? Officials aren't good. I'm not surprised by it. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Nebraska loses a one-possession game. Talk about something having to give. USC, Nebraska, you lose. Anyway, so I digress. Florida gets on track here. And LSU, who lost to USC earlier this year, their slim playoff hopes are now done. So we can write them off because they shouldn't even be ranked, nor should Missouri, even though they lost close to South Carolina. That was a thrilling football game. But Florida just looks like a good football team. That's all there is to it. And earlier this year, I said, yeah, Billy Napier, time to go, man. You can't get embarrassed like this twice in the first 3 weeks of this season. Maybe he'll do it again next year. But that's a distant memory now because they keep playing good games. Even in their losses, they are looking good. That's a very impressive turnaround. I am legitimately surprised that Florida has been able to pull this off because since they lost, would the committee rank a 5-loss Florida team? Gosh, I hope not. But I mean, they lost to Tennessee by 6. They were competitive with Georgia, lost by 14. Yeah, Texas blew them out. Okay, DJ Lagway didn't play in that game. And by the way, what happens if the Gators don't suffer quarterback injuries against Tennessee? Do they win that football game? You tell me. It certainly seems entirely possible. And they beat LSU 27-16. This wasn't even a one-possession game where they got some fluky sequence or a call from an official. No, they were just better. They were just a better football team. So they host Ole Miss, and they have a chance for a second straight week to play spoiler in another SEC team's playoff bid. Because, what do you know? LSU, playoff, done. Ole Miss, they're hanging by a thread. They're sitting there with 2 losses, 9-3 SEC. I don't think so. Then they go at Florida State. That's maybe the worst team in all of Power 4. So, yeah, good day for Billy Napier. Good day for the Florida Gators. And a really good day for the Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, outright winner here for Georgia. Even though I expected them to win, did not expect them to cover. Did not expect their offense to suddenly get right. I mean, who could have seen this coming? I don't ask that rhetorically because I didn't see it coming. I thought Georgia would win the football game whether Nico played or not. But 31-17? Why were there so many points in this game? I don't know the answer to that question either. Georgia has got UMass and Georgia Tech, and they shouldn't want to play in the SEC championship game. They should say, you know what? We just picked up a top 10 win, did it by 2 touchdowns, looked like ourselves again. We'll get our SEC cupcake next week, and then Georgia Tech, and as long as we win that football game, we'll just go to the playoff at 10-2 and call it good. Carson Beck looks like Carson Beck again. And going into this game, I said on this very show, in front of this very mic, to this very camera, I can't see the Georgia offense suddenly getting right against Tennessee. And after 1 quarter, I thought, well, yeah, there it is. And then it wasn't. I mean, Carson Beck, 25 of 40, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Georgia puts up 31 points. No one had scored 20 on Tennessee all season long. Alabama didn't do that. Tennessee this year allowed point totals in the following order: 3, 10, 0, 15, 14, 17, 17, 18, 14, and then 31 to a Georgia offense that had just been sputtering time and again. They still can't run the football, but I don't expect you to do that against Tennessee. I expect you to have a quarterback that can lead you to 8 of 14 on third down. I expect you to have a quarterback that doesn't turn the football over. Like this was the Carson Beck who some people said, ooh, Heisman before the year. And I would have said, I don't think that's a terrible idea. I don't know that's my top option. My preseason Heisman pick was Jalen Milroe. I don't think that's going to work out either because Travis Hunter's probably just going to win the award. If not, it'll be Ashton Genty. But Carson Beck looked like the old Carson Beck. Are they back to it? I need to wait and see. Because I saw a prolonged stretch of football from the Bulldog signal caller where he was really bad and wasn't sure which color jersey he was supposed to throw the football to. So seeing one game, albeit against one of the 5 to 10 best defenses, probably one of the 5 best defenses in all of college football, that's incredibly impressive. That's a data point. You got to show me that that is not an aberration from the norm, because this turnover-worthy Carson Beck, where he struggles to protect the football, that's become the norm. That's what he has been for a long time. Not a short time, but that's what we have become used to because he's done it so often. So if he gets back to this, if he's back to being the Carson Beck that has NFL draft scouts saying, ooh, yeah, I'd take him in the first or second round, and Heisman voters saying, hey, if he puts up a bunch of numbers, he could do that, or just has Georgia fans, frankly, saying, hey, he can do what Stetson Bennett did. He can lead us to a national championship. He looked like that guy a year ago, and we just came up a little bit short in the SEC championship game. But if we had a 12-team playoff, we would have done it, and all these sorts of things. That's what they're looking for, and that's what they seem to have found again. I don't know what changed for Mike Bobo and the rest of that offensive staff, but I tell you what, something changed. Something clicked. Something clicked in Carson Beck's head, and he was able to just put it together. That's what he did. He took one side, he took left brain, he took right brain, he meshed them together, and he made something truly great. And that great thing is a Georgia team that can win the national championship. Tennessee, no vibe here. No vibe. I'm going to talk about Tennessee more on tomorrow's show, but, well, Monday's show, depending on when you're listening to or watching this particular show, which technically is airing on Sunday. So yes, tomorrow's show, I will talk more about the Vols. But I'm not that concerned with Tennessee. They're kind of what I expected them to be, just, flipping the offense and defense and such. But yeah, they didn't cover. Okay. Georgia was justified to be favored by 9.5 points. They covered. But at the end of the day, it's about your long-term season prospects, and I don't feel differently about USC today. I do, however, feel differently about Georgia. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.